when Senator Yerima, a senator who married in 2010 a 13-year-old bride from Egypt, decides that a section of our constitution that subtly allows child marriage not be scrapped, hell broke loose. And today on the show, we have people who are passionate about the issue, and we also have a Muslim cleric who's not able to join us in the studio today, but who will be calling on the phone to talk about it from the Islamic perspective, because it seems like so many things have been hidden or misconstrued from that perspective. I'm going to start with the lady on my right, on my left, the advocate herself, Dupe Killer, who is a social commentator and who has been leading on the issue against the child not bride campaign. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Bimbo.
And of course, next to her is Ayo Shogunro. Ayo is a lawyer who works out of Lagos and of course across Nigeria. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
And finally, next to Ayo is Taiwo Akinlami, who is a child protection expert. Taiwo spends his time working with children on child sexual abuse, rape, amongst other issues. It's good to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure to be here.
All right. And then, of course, we have Malam Nuru, who will be joining us from Abuja. He's a scholar. We have Aisha Asori, who's also going to be joining us on the telephone. She's a woman rights activist. And as well as Umar Abdurrahman Ustaz, who is also an Islamic scholar who would also be shedding light on the issue. But I'm going to start with you, Dupe. You hit the road last week calling for petition against the child not bride issue. Let's start from the beginning. Why? What exactly is the issue?
Thank you very much, Bimbo. Adibola, sorry. You didn't say my full name, Dupe Killer Kafi Dipe. What it is?
We know the Dupe
Killer. Yeah, that's nice. That's the handle. Well, it started early last week. Late the week before, and we found out that at some point there was some development on the floor of the house where they had to go for another vote for something that had apparently been concluded as it should have been. Very rightly, the Kerimwadu committee had reviewed section 29, subsection 4B of the Constitution, and had recommended that it should be deleted. And then at the House, it was agreed that it should not be deleted at some point. Like you said, because Senator Yerima stirred some emotion, what we call blackmail against other senators in the House. So we had to take that up. We had to make our voices heard. We had to speak unequivocally that that was not acceptable, and that was why we hit the streets on Friday.
Okay, and what did you achieve? Or how did that go?
It went very well. Let's be clear, a lot of people were confused as to what the issues were. There wasn't a new bid to pass a new law. So there was a lot of work by, well-meaning people, well-meaning Nigerians, and people who have been working with women's rights, children's rights. There was a lot of work saying, let's define exactly what went on. Nobody's passing a new law. Nobody's adding, to the Constitution. In fact, the current Constitution was under review, and the point was that part of the review process that should have gone on did not happen. So a lot of work was done to correct that misinformation out there. And then we decided that, we didn't have to be violent. This wasn't a violent protest or exercise. What it was on social media, there was a lot of discussion. We made it very clear this wasn't about a particular region of the country. This isn't about a particular religion in the country. One of the things I said to people is, let's put this in perspective. At some point in this country, we used to kill twins. And, it's just as abhorrent as what we're going to fight against now. One of the things that's come up, it also throws up, like Aisha will tell you, and like she's written, that people didn't even know that we've had this situation for a long time. The only problem was that now that we wanted to correct it through the Senate subcommittee, Yarima said no, because it was going to infringe on his Islamic rights. And you know, when people, religion is that card that you throw at things in Nigeria. So we went to the streets very peacefully. We got people to listen to what the situation was, the correct one, and then got them to sign off the petition saying delete Section 29, subsection 4B out of the Constitution, because it has implications for child marriage. And the implication was that our Constitution was in some way endorsing it.
For the purpose of clarity,
yes,
let's do it one more time.
Right.
What exactly is the situation? And because you said you corrected, the misguided information.
Yes.
Do it one more time for our viewers.
Right. The situation was that the Constitution we have as of now has section 29, subsection 4B, that has implications for child marriage. What the situation was that they were looking at citizenship, what time should a Nigerian be able to revoke citizenship? And very rightly so, the Senate committee looking into it had said, look, the age for revocation of citizenship for which anybody can make should be 18. And that was correct. And also to say that as far as that's concerned, that's it. Remove subsection 4B, 29 4B, which then goes to imply that a woman that's married but not yet at that age can revoke citizenship. Now, if that went through, it would have implications for underage marriage. And that was, it's a blink and miss it point. You blink, you don't get the connection. And a lot of people did not, they struggled to get the connection. They were not talking about marriage. Why are they saying child, not bride? No, they were not talking about marriage, but that clause that subsection had implications for underage marriage, okay, and we're saying remove it. And the whole of Nigeria said remove it.
So, Ayoshogun, tell me, during the activation, I mean, when the people went on the street, with Dupe Killer and a couple of other people, they were able to sign 22,000 signatures for the petition. Is that enough to correct is that strong enough for the NAS to consider, to be able to revisit this? Or how many signatures do we need on a petition?
Mm-hmm. Well, Nigeria has no particular legal requirements in that kind of situation. For the kind of situation you have in mind, you usually have it for you want to recall a senator, you want to recall a representative. We have that kind of signature and petition agenda. But in this scenario, it's mostly a question of the political advantage that the Senate will see in it. Personally, I think the Senate as it is ready to reconsider. If we recollect, this amendment itself was suspended, but not because the Senate did not want to amend it, but because they did not meet the technical requirement, that's two-thirds majority. So as it is, it means there is a lot of people, or there are a lot of people in the Senate who are also already on the side of the petitioners politically. So it's now a question of whether they can exert the political will in the circumstances.
Okay. All right, Taiwo, you being a child protection expert, how do you think a 14-year-old can function as a wife?
Well, I think it is impossible for a child, not even a 14-year-old, anybody below 18. A child is anybody below 18. And the idea of the definition of a child did not come by a brainwave. People did not just wake up after drinking pepper soup and beer and conclude that a child is anybody below 18. Psychologists, psychiatrists, sociologists, lawyers came together and began to ask the question, at what age do we think a child will be able to function in certain responsibilities? And in conformity to that, the law says that a child is anybody below 18. That is clear by the Child Rights Act 2003. That is clear by the Convention on the Right of the Child, United Nations document. That is clear by the African Charter on Welfare and the Right, and the Right of the Child. Now, having said that, the law goes further, particularly the Child Rights Act, which has been passed in 24 states in Nigeria, to criminal, not only to outlaw child marriage, but to criminalize same. And it's important to inform that there are only 12 states in Nigeria that have refused to that are yet, don't let me use the word refuse, that are yet to pass that law. And I must let you know that certain states in the north have also passed that law. Now, the foundational thing is that a child is not created to function in certain responsibilities. See, section 20 and 19 talks about the responsibilities of children under this act. Marriage is not one of them. And the law is very, very clear. So I think that when you get a child into marriage, you crash the child's destiny. You crash the child's psyche. You crash the child's understanding and future. Because if you read the speech of Ban Ki-moon when Malala used for 16th birthday, he made it abundantly clear that when you empower a woman, what happens is that you accelerated the growth of the family and the community. And that for every 1 year that a child spends in school, you increase our future earning by 20% by every year. So when you look at this, you understand clearly that it is not right. You cannot hide it under any garment or under any guise to say that children should be given out in marriage. I think it is not right. It should be opposed. It should be criticized. And apart from criticizing it, it is also important to look at what are the issues that lead to child marriage. You find religion. Inside religion, before religion, you find poverty. You find lack of education. Now, because statistics also tell us that if a child is in school, is 6 times less to be married. A child in secondary school, if a child gets to a secondary school age. Now, from a personal interaction from women from the north, I've found that a lot of women that have gone ahead to acquire, that have not been caught by the child marriage thing, are children of people from educated homes, people that are informed. They refuse to give out their children in marriage. So the question is, who is the girl that Yerima married? He married, as we understand, a 13-year-old girl who is the child of his driver. Now, a fellow senator will not give out his own daughter in marriage. He's not going to do that. So you find out that what happens is that because of ignorance, because of lack of education, because of poverty. Now, because even in Lagos, we are told 20% of children are given out in marriage all over the country, not only in the north. It still happens. We have pockets of occurrences like that, even in the southwest, southeast, even here. So when you look at it critically, you find that the major work, what I'm interested in, is child protection, which when we talk about child abuse and child marriage, has moved from issue-based to system-based. If you gather 22,000 signatures now, which is beautiful, fine. I commend those who have embarked on that laudable idea or laudable plan. But if we gather 22,000 signatures now, if for whatever reason, you need to understand that the Senate is not the final authority when it comes to constitutional amendment. You still need to go to the House of Reps. You need to go to 2/3 of the 36 states of the Houses of Assembly. So if we gather 22,000 signatures at the level of the Senate, if we're able to win the battle with the Senate, we still have the Houses of Assembly in the core north. We still have the Houses of Assembly in other parts of the country. So what I'm interested in, how do we evolve a system that has 3 components? 1, goals, set of goals. 2, dependence and interdependence. That is able to say, okay, this is the agenda. You have an agenda to face out the whole idea of child marriage. It can be done because, Claire Booth made it abundantly clear that there has never been a hopeless situation. There are only hopeless people. As Dupe said in the beginning, there was a time twins were being killed in this country, but it became a history. It did not just become a history, but because a set of people decided to do something about it. So I think that if we are able to evolve a more robust response to the situation, it will help to put a stop to this what I will consider as an injustice and ill treatment towards the girl child.
All right. So I'm going to ask you, Ayo.